My name is Lynn Archuleta. I'm 29, and for most of my life, family dinner felt like an audition for a role I was never going to get. Sunday nights at my parents' place were a ritual. Same roast, same too warm Merlot, same questions tossed at you like a ball no one intends to catch. Mom swore the dining table was solid oak, though the corner wobbled if you breathed wrong. Dad set down his tumbler, 2 fingers of whiskey, his courage and amber, and gave me one of his weather report truths. You'll never be like your sister. Not loud. Worse. Casual. The kind of line you drop between comments about gas prices and football scores. Willa, 2 years older, immaculate eyeliner, born on an updraft, smirked over asparagus and launched into another story from the luxury car dealership. Everyone leaned in, as if she were the only person whose air counted. I kept slicing the steak I'd marinated and grilled myself the week before, on their busted propane unit after Dad threw his back out. Willa had arrived late, opened a bag of salad, and got credit for helping. That was our family's physics. Gravity bent toward Willa. I was the extra chair. Mom reached for the butter. No one contradicted Dad. No one ever did. It wasn't the first time I'd heard it. I could stitch a full-length audiobook from the times my father reminded me that I was not, and would never be, Willa. I used to defend myself in my head, drafting perfect speeches I'd never say out loud. But that night, I set my fork down. The clink felt like a church bell. Then she can pay for this house, I said. Silence tightened around the table. Willa's fork froze midair. Mom flinched. Dad blinked as if I'd spoken in a language we didn't teach in this house. For what? Mom whispered. I stood up without scraping the chair, looked around once. Not at them, at the room, the green wallpaper Mom called vintage, the framed 8x10 of Willa's college graduation dead center on the wall. No photo of mine, though I graduated too. I took in the space like a hotel room at checkout. Then I walked down the hall, the same hall I painted 5 years ago, opened the front door, and left. No slam, no scene, just done. Outside, the sky went soft and blue-gray, like the world had lowered its voice for me. I sat in my car, the unnecessary purchase they'd mocked, and for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a guest auditioning for daughter. I felt like a person who had finally stood up from the wrong table. People think the comparisons start late. They don't. When Willa turned 16, a midnight blue sedan waited in the driveway with a ribbon on it like a game show prize. There's a video, Mom crying, Dad saying, "You earned it, kiddo." When I turned 16, I got a reusable bus pass. Same parents, different rules. Willa honked when she drove past my stop some mornings. Windows down, music up. Once she tossed a wrapped breakfast sandwich out the window. It hit the sidewalk and rolled into a puddle. She laughed. I didn't pick it up. Senior year, I got into a top tech program on a scholarship I hunted down myself. I paid the application fees with money from the hotel dish pit and coded essays on a cracked phone balanced on a cafeteria tray. I waited until after dinner to tell them. Willa stretched on the couch, describing her promotion from brand associate to floor lead. Mom clapped. Dad said progress. I held my letter in the hall for 10 whole minutes, waiting for someone to say more. No one did. College was a relay of blistered hands. I did help desk by day, scrubbed pans at night, took the bus home under a flickering streetlight. I missed one midterm because my tire blew and I had to walk 3 miles in flats that bit. When I told Dad, he chuckled, "That's life." When Willa lost a job for being late 3 times, the family called it a sign she's meant for bigger things. I stopped auditioning. Work became a humming engine. I fixed routers for local cafes that thought password was security. I learned small business networks overnight because a bar owner named Trish called me ma'am and asked if I did cameras too. By year 2, I had 3 steady clients. By year 3, I co-founded Quiet Fix, a tiny ops and IT outfit with 2 other burnout refugees. We rented a corner in a co-working loft with plants we kept forgetting to water, and people paid us for clarity. When I closed on my first condo, my hands shook over the dotted line. Stainless appliances. My name on the deed. I didn't tell my family. Not because I was hiding, because I no longer needed to see my joy measured in someone else's eyes. Willa's orbit wobbled. A quiet DUI. A misunderstanding at the dealership. The story revised itself at every family dinner I skipped. I learned the details from a former client who'd once worked with her. You and Willa are sisters? He said, surprised. Could have fooled me. When I bought the house, I stood in the entryway and let the air prove itself. Light pouring in like an apology, hardwood that sounded like a future when I walked on it, a back deck that looked out on trees pretending to be a desktop wallpaper. Freedom. I unpacked slowly. A couch, a real coffee table, paint samples I chose without asking, "Do you think this matches?" Then, out of some foolish sliver of hope, I sent a message to the family group chat. "Hey, I moved into my new place, hosting a small housewarming next Sunday. Would love to see you if you can make it. Address attached." I followed with a direct email to my parents, as if inboxes could bridge what voices never did. Day 1 passed, then 3, then 7. No replies, no thumbs up, nothing. The wine bottles I bought for guests sat unopened. The charcuterie board I practiced building curled under cling film in the fridge like a leftover apology. I took one bottle to the back deck and drank a plastic cup of it alone, watched the trees, and let the quiet be honest. The next morning, my phone woke to a flood of photos. Cousins, aunts, that one uncle who thinks I work at the Apple store, all under white fairy lights at a rented garden venue. Willa plus Evan's engagement bash. So proud of this beautiful couple. The captions sparkled. The outfits gleamed. The date stamp matched my housewarming. They hadn't just skipped me, they replaced me. There was a shot of my parents, glasses raised. The caption, "Family is everything." Funny. I'd typed something like that on my invite. I didn't throw the phone. I didn't cry. I just stared until the old pressure in my chest, the one I used to feel at our wobbly oak table, loosened. Then I deleted the app. I brought the untouched food to the office. My team thought we'd won a client. We ate on paper plates among coiled cables and a whiteboard that never fully erases. Jake, my boyfriend, steady, kind, the kind of man who asks questions and waits for answers, came by with coffee and a joke about how our company parties had the best cheese knives. He didn't ask why my eyes were red. He just stayed. We toasted with ginger ale and champagne flutes, not to family, to work that meant something, to rooms that didn't wobble when you breathed, to building tables that fit. The call came days later while my arm was deep inside a server rack, chasing a power gremlin. "Dad," the screen said. I let it ring once, twice. The third time, I stepped into the alley behind the office next to humming AC units and a pizza box on a dumpster. "Hey, kiddo," he said, voice too bright and cracking. "How have you been?" "Working," I said. "That's my girl," he tried, then cleared his throat. "Listen, something's come up. It's about Willa's wedding, the vineyard we booked. They double booked. Some influencer offered double to bump us." He exhaled like a man expecting sympathy. "We got the deposit back, but the wedding's in 3 weeks and we're stuck. We were wondering if maybe you'd be willing to help out, just temporarily." "How?" I asked, though I already knew. He took the opening. "We know you've got that new place. Big yard, nice view. It'd be perfect for the ceremony, or reception, or both. We'd handle logistics, of course. You wouldn't have to lift a finger. We just need the location." So that's what I was. Not a daughter, a location. "You weren't our first call," he added quickly. "We tried other options. Yours is just available." Available. I looked at the brick wall across from me, sunlight tracing a crooked line down it like a seam. Somewhere inside, my younger self stood up from the wobbly table and left again. "Let me check my schedule," I said. A beat. I could hear him swallow. "Right, sure, appreciate that. Vendors are calling. We'll need to know soon." "I'll get back to you." I hung up and stared at my reflection in the office window. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt clear. I texted my operations lead. Standard event rental agreement, wedding edition, full liability, damage waivers, market rate, cleaning deposit, noise curfew, property access clause, and one line that says all guests and contractors will follow the direction of the property owner, Ms. Lynn Archuleta, or her appointed staff. "Want me to add a smiley face?" she replied. "No," I typed. "Add a late fee clause." Jake watched me send the email titled, "As discussed, terms for use of my property." He didn't cheer. He didn't scold. He just said, "Proud of you," like a fact. 30 minutes later, Dad replied, "Bit formal, isn't it?" I typed back, "So is a 70-person event. Let me know if you prefer another venue." A pause, then, "We agree. Please confirm availability." I looked at my hands. steady now, and smiled without showing my teeth. Availability, I said to no one, and opened my calendar. The phrase, "we agree," sat in my inbox like a foreign language. All those years I'd begged for approval, now it came wrapped in a business tone. For the next 48 hours, my house stopped being a home. It became a project site. I didn't tell anyone in my family that I'd hired an external crew. Not friends, not favors, professionals. Marcus, my lead event coordinator, ran logistics for high-end fundraisers. His clipboard could intimidate a senator. When he stepped into my backyard for the first walkthrough, he said, "Nice property, Ms. Archuleta. Plenty of symmetry for ceremony seating." "Keep it efficient," I told him. "No one touches my office wing or upstairs level. Treat this like any other rental." He nodded, already sketching layouts. 3 days later, Mom texted me for the first time in months. "Mom, we're coming by to look at the space tomorrow. Dad wants to see the layout. XO. No, please, no thank you. Just assumption." I stared at the text for a full minute before replying, "Lynn. Confirm with Marcus first. He'll schedule your access window." She replied with a single question mark. The next afternoon, I watched their car pull into the driveway from my upstairs window. Mom stepped out in a wide-brimmed hat, scanning the property like a resort guest. Dad carried a reusable coffee cup he probably didn't even finish. When they saw me near the patio, clipboard in hand, talking to staff, they hesitated. "Lynn," Mom said carefully, "everything looks lovely. You've done well." I smiled, professional but polite. "Thank you. We're on a tight schedule, so if you'll follow Marcus, he'll walk you through zones A and B." Marcus, ever the master of timing, appeared beside me. "Ms. Archuleta, the caterer's truck needs clearance on the east side. I'll handle your guests after." "Perfect," I said. Mom blinked. "Ms. Archuleta?" Marcus smiled. "She's the property owner, ma'am." I could feel Dad's pride curdle into something brittle. He rubbed the back of his neck. "So you're really running this like a business?" "It is a business," I said simply. That night, Jake came by with takeout boxes and a raised eyebrow. "So, you turned your family into clients?" I shrugged. "They needed a venue. I have one. It's transactional, nothing else." He grinned. "I'm impressed, but I'd keep the emotional invoice separate." "I've already learned to charge for cleanup," I said, and he laughed softly. Then, quieter. "Just remember, clients pay to use your space, but they don't get to rent your peace." I kissed him on the cheek. Peace is non-transferable. 3 mornings before the rehearsal, I got a new email. Not from Dad this time, but from Willa's fiancé, Evan. Subject, quick questions. House setup. "Hi, Lynn. Vanessa's handling most of the coordination for social media and decor. She'll reach out directly. Appreciate your flexibility." Vanessa, Jake's ex. The name landed like a glass shard underfoot. I called Jake right away. "Did you know she was helping with Willa's wedding?" He groaned. "God, no. She freelances event content now. Probably volunteered for exposure." "Exposure," I repeated, tasting the word. "Right. She's not a threat," he added. "But she loves attention. Don't feed her." "I won't," I said, but part of me already heard the slow hiss of drama forming behind the pretty lights and linen rentals. The rehearsal day arrived with gold sun and the faint smell of cut grass. I wore black slacks, a pressed shirt, and carried my clipboard like armor. The yard was transformed. Rows of white chairs, floral arch, twinkle lights coiled through the trees. Marcus directed the team. I oversaw timing, sound, and safety checks. A black SUV crunched onto the gravel drive. Out stepped Willa, glowing as ever, and beside her, Evan, charming smile, blazer tossed over one shoulder like he practiced it. Willa barely looked at me before glancing around. "You sure this place can handle the sound setup?" she asked. "You're free to consult with your DJ," I said evenly. "I'm just saying," she continued, "we don't want the speakers to blow out during the vows." I smiled. "That's why there's a decibel limit after 9:30. It's in your contract." Evan coughed into his fist, half amused, half awkward. Then he looked at me with mild admiration. "You really run a tight ship, huh?" "Ships don't sink when they're properly captained," I said. He chuckled, but Willa's eyes narrowed. That's when Vanessa appeared. White sundress, camera strapped around her neck, voice syrup sweet. "Lynn Archuleta, wow, this is your house? I mean, everyone's saying it's a rental, but this is way too nice to be yours." The smile didn't leave my lips. Contracts can be misleading. "You here as staff or guest?" Her lashes fluttered. "Oh, I'm just helping Willa with photos and socials." Hashtag forever starts now. Then please coordinate with Marcus. He handles all staff. Jake, standing by the catering tent, froze when he saw her. Vanessa waved at him like they were old friends. Hi, Jake. Didn't expect you here. Neither did I, he muttered. The air went brittle. Willa raised an eyebrow. Wait, you two know each other? Vanessa grinned. Oh, we go way back. Jake's jaw tightened. She's my ex, from 2 years ago. Willa made an exaggerated, oh, delighting in the chaos she didn't have to clean up. I turned to Marcus. Let's keep the rehearsal on schedule. Yes, Ms. Archuleta. Vanessa's smile faltered when the staff moved around her like she was invisible. And just like that, the power shifted again. That night, Jake came over looking apologetic. I swear I didn't know she'd be there, he said. I believe you, I replied. But she's already posting stories. Your house, the setup, everything. You okay with that? I checked my phone. There it was. A reel tagged, Hatch rustic chic dream venue, panning across my backyard, the caption reading, helping my dear friend Willa prep for her perfect day at the most gorgeous rented estate. Rented, I murmured. Jake frowned. She's baiting you. Let her. I charge extra for misinformation. He laughed, half in awe. You scare me sometimes. Good, I said. Maybe she'll learn too. The next evening, Marcus sent the final prep email. Subject, wedding day. Execution plan, Ms. Archuleta's approval. I read through it carefully. Every line was precision. Setup hours, vendor boundaries, payment schedule, security deposit clause. At the bottom, he'd written one note. Client's family dynamics appear volatile. Recommend Ms. Archuleta maintain professional distance during event. I stared at that line for a long time. Professional distance. If only he knew. That's all I'd ever had. The morning light slanted through the trees as I walked across my own backyard, now unrecognizable under tents, cables, and folding chairs. My home had become a stage. The grass smelled of dew and freshly printed programs. Marcus was already coordinating deliveries like a general. Florist at 10, DJ, sound check at 11. Ms. Archuleta, the seating chart final? Yes, I said, passing him the clipboard. Keep the first 2 rows clear until Willa confirms her bridal party. He nodded. Copy that. I caught my reflection in the sliding glass doors. Black slacks, neat bun, calm face. Not the kid who used to get told she'd never measure up. Just the woman making sure her property stayed intact. Then I heard it. That distinct gravel crunch of my parents' car. Mom stepped out first, dressed as if attending a Sunday garden tour. Oh, Lynn, this is just spectacular. Her smile was stretched thin, the kind you wear when walking into a stranger's open house. Dad trailed behind, sunglasses perched on his head. Looks like you've got a whole operation going on here. It's an event site this week, I said. You're here for the rehearsal, right? He hesitated. Right, of course. He looked around, clearly unsure where to stand. Marcus walked by with a tablet. Ms. Archuleta, tent poles are secure. We'll start lighting install after lunch. Dad's head snapped up. Ms. Archuleta? Marcus smiled. Yes, sir. She's our point of authority here. I saw the moment Dad realized. They weren't guests of honor anymore. They were clients under contract. Around noon, Willa arrived in a rush of perfume and entitlement. Sorry we're late, she said, waving one manicured hand like the world had been waiting. Behind her came Evan, easy grin, sleeves rolled up, trying to charm the tension out of the air. Willa spun in a slow circle. It's smaller than I imagined. I swallowed the immediate retort. Capacity 70, as stated. Fire code doesn't care about imagination. Evan shot me a quick, diplomatic smile. I'm sure it'll look perfect once the decorations are in. Oh, I'm sure, Willa said, voice sharp, just making sure the layout photographs well. That word, photographs, was all the cue I needed for what came next. A voice from behind. Speaking of photos, Vanessa appeared, camera dangling, white dress catching the sunlight just enough to demand attention. She smiled like she'd been rehearsing it in the mirror. Lynn Archuleta, she said sweetly. Wow, this is your place? I've seen it all over the wedding socials. It's stunning. I tilted my head. Thank you. Please stay within the designated vendor zones. She giggled. Of course. I'm helping Willa with behind-the-scenes content. Willa chimed in. Vanessa's amazing with social media. She's basically saving me a fortune in photographers. Jake walked in at that exact moment carrying sound cables. His smile vanished when he saw her. Vanessa. She turned, feigning surprise. Oh, Jake, small world. Too small, he said under his breath. Willa looked between them, delighted. Wait, you two know each other? Vanessa's tone dripped with nostalgia. We dated, briefly, before he met Lynn. Willa laughed too hard. That's too funny. What are the odds? Apparently high, I said flatly. Marcus, can we move the rehearsal along? Right away, Ms. Archuleta. Vanessa's smirk faltered. Watching her realize that Ms. Archuleta wasn't just hosting, but in charge, was better than caffeine. The afternoon sun burned hotter as rehearsal began. Willa kept interrupting Marcus. Can we move the arch a little more left? Actually, the light's better on this side. Oh, and the string quartet, can they face us? It looks more aesthetic. Marcus maintained the patience of a saint, adjusting and readjusting. At one point, Evan whispered, You're incredible for putting up with this. I'm not putting up with it, I said quietly. I'm billing for it. His smile faded, a mix of amusement and guilt. Meanwhile, Dad hovered by the catering station, trying to chat with workers who clearly had no time for small talk. Mom trailed after Willa with a clipboard she didn't know how to read. It would have been funny if it weren't so predictably sad. As rehearsal wrapped, Vanessa sidled closer. Hey, Lynn, you don't mind if I shoot a quick reel here, do you? Just to show how beautiful the venue is? Sure, I said. Just tag Quiet Fix Properties. Business visibility never hurts. Her smile stiffened. Right, I'll do that. She didn't. Within the hour, her Instagram reel went up. Helping my bestie Willa prep at this gorgeous rented estate. #rustic chic dream venue. Rented. Jake saw it before I did. She's baiting you, he said. Let her. She just gave me free advertising, I replied. And every click increases the ad value of the venue. He chuckled. You're colder than you used to be. No, I said, just warmer to myself. That night, Willa texted, Willa, need to confirm tomorrow's parking for bridal cars. Dad says your driveway might be too narrow. Lynn, it fits 2 SUVs. Additional parking available in the lower lot. It's in the packet. Willa, okay, but don't stress if we rearrange a bit. Lynn, rearranging without my approval violates Section 3.2 of the rental contract. There was a long pause, then a single reply. Willa, got it. By midnight, the backyard was lit with test strings of fairy lights. The air smelled of gardenia and tension. I stood on the deck, laptop open, checking invoices. Jake joined me, 2 mugs in hand. Coffee, no alcohol before battle, he said. Wise, I smiled. Tomorrow's the main event. He looked at me for a long moment. Are you sure you're okay with them doing this here? I'm not doing this for them, I said. I'm doing this through them. He nodded slowly, understanding. In the distance, the twinkle lights flickered once, as if the house itself was holding its breath for what was coming. By noon the next day, my house didn't look like my house anymore. It looked like a dream someone else paid for and forgot to thank the owner. White tents stretched across the lawn, lined with fairy lights that flickered like bottled lightning. A string quartet rehearsed under the oak tree I'd planted last year. Caterers darted through the kitchen I'd designed tile by tile, balancing trays of champagne and shrimp skewers. Marcus stood near the back gate, radio clipped to his vest. Ms. Archuleta, final checklist complete. Guests arriving in 15. I nodded. Once the bridal car parks, block off the driveway. No late entries past 5. He grinned. Copy that, boss. Guests began to trickle in, heels sinking into grass, laughter loud enough to echo off the porch columns. Every compliment felt like an invasion. This place is gorgeous. Can you believe they found such a perfect rental? Whoever owns it must be loaded. I passed them quietly, tablet in hand, every inch the composed event director. If they mistook me for staff, good. It meant they'd leave me alone. Willa emerged from the dressing tent, glowing under a lace veil, surrounded by bridesmaids, and the kind of confidence that comes from a lifetime of applause. Evan looked proud but distracted, tugging at his cufflinks. Mom hovered, eyes misty. Dad already had a drink. As I handed off the cue sheet to Marcus, I overheard Vanessa behind me, low voice, sugar in every syllable. I still can't believe she lives here. Jake said she was doing, computer stuff. I mean, no offense, but this looks expensive. Her friend snorted. Maybe it's leased. Willa said she put down the deposit herself. I turned, quietly enough that my heels didn't click. Funny, I said. My bank app never mentioned that. Vanessa froze, color rising to her cheeks. Don't worry, I added smoothly. I'll make sure your invoice goes to the right account. Then I walked away before she could recover. By sunset, the ceremony began. Music swelled, guests stood, cameras flashed. My parents smiled like this was the pinnacle of their lives. I stayed in the back, near the caterer's table, my presence invisible but necessary. Every command, lighting cue, song transition, temperature check, flowed through me. At one point, Marcus leaned over. You know, Ms. Archuleta, I've worked 100 weddings. But this is power. You don't say a word, and everyone falls in line. Because I'm the one paying the invoices, I said. He laughed softly. Fair. After the vows and the photos, the tent glowed from within, like a lantern filled with laughter that wasn't mine. The DJ called for toasts. Vanessa fluttered around with her camera, posting filters before the champagne even fizzed. Then the DJ's voice cut through the chatter. Next, a few words from our gracious host, Ms. Lynn Archuleta. A hush fell, forks paused midair. I didn't look at anyone as I walked to the mic. The crowd shifted, confused. Was this part of the schedule? Was she staff? Willa's smile faltered. Evan's hand tightened around his glass. Jake watched from near the back, quiet, unreadable. I took a breath, the kind that fills your chest all the way to the years you lost. Sometimes, I began, life teaches you to stop fighting for a seat at tables where you were never really welcome. A few heads tilted, the air stilled. So instead, I continued, you build your own table, you buy the chairs, you cook the meal, and if no one shows up, I glanced around the tent. You eat in peace anyway. Silence. 5 long seconds of it. Then polite claps. Then more. It built awkwardly, like applause for a movie ending no one understood. Willa looked frozen in her perfect makeup. Evan forced a nod. Mom's lips parted, but no words came. Dad chewed slower, staring at his plate. I handed the mic back to the DJ. Thank you for choosing my home for your special day. Please remember, restrooms are in the guest wing, not upstairs. And I walked off the stage. I didn't stay for cake, didn't join the photos, didn't wait for the bouquet toss or the drunk speeches. Instead, I circled around the house to the back steps, slipped off my shoes, and sat with a bottle of water. The music muffled through the walls, bass beats and laughter pressed into the wood like old ghosts. From here, I could see the edge of the dance floor through the open tent, fairy lights trembling, faces bright with wine and denial. Jake found me there. That speech, he said softly. You could have burned the place down, but you didn't. I wasn't aiming for fire, I said, just light. He sat beside me. Vanessa's leaving early. Looks like she finally realized she's not the main character. Good, I murmured. Maybe she'll learn boundaries too. Jake turned to me. You sure you're okay? I took a slow sip of water. I've never been more okay. Above us, the stars blinked into view, indifferent and endless. For the first time in years, I felt exactly like them. Quiet, distant, self-contained. By the time the last car rolled out of the driveway, it was nearly midnight. Marcus approached, clipboard in hand. Event concluded. Minor damages. 1 broken chair, 2 spilled drinks on the deck. We'll deduct from deposit. Perfect, I said. He smiled. I've never seen anyone handle family like a corporate client. They prefer contracts to confrontation, I said. He chuckled, gave a short salute, and left with the crew. The yard was empty again. The silence was heavy but clean, like a house exhaling. I walked back inside, heels clicking softly against the hardwood, past the mirrors and candles and leftover flowers. My phone buzzed. Text from Dad. Your speech was unexpected, but the wedding turned out beautiful. Thank you for letting us use your place. I typed back, you're welcome. Invoice arrives Monday. Then I turned off the lights one by one until the whole house went dark except for the soft glow spilling in from the deck. It didn't feel lonely. It felt earned. By Monday morning, my house looked like it had survived a storm made of sequins and champagne. I walked barefoot across the deck, picking up forgotten napkins and a single heel someone had left under a chair. A faint imprint of Willa's initials remained in the grass where the archway once stood. Marcus's report was already in my inbox, efficient as ever. Event summary: Willa and Evan wedding. Completed damages: 1. Broken chair, 2 wine stains. Deck. Deposit deductions processed. Balance due: $4,280. Sent to client, Mr. and Mrs. Archuleta. I scrolled through it twice, smiling faintly. The tone was mercilessly neutral, exactly how business should sound. By noon, the messages began. Dad, I just wanted to say your house looked incredible. Everyone was talking about it. Mom, so proud of you, sweetheart. You've really built something beautiful. Willa. Hey, sorry I didn't get to talk much at the wedding. Everything was crazy. Thanks for letting us use your space. You really saved us. Then a follow-up. Willa. Oh, and can you waive the extra cleaning fee? The DJ said it wasn't that bad. I stared at the text, the corner of my mouth curling. Lynn. Hi, Willa. The contract terms are final. Late payment fees apply after 3 business days. Have a great honeymoon. Read, no reply. That evening, I sat at the kitchen island with a glass of cold water, scrolling through the online photos. Vanessa had posted an album captioned, "So grateful to help capture my dear friend's dream wedding at this luxury estate. Blessed beyond words." No credit, no tag, no truth. But the irony? Every tagged guest added the same location, Archuleta residence. My SEO metrics spiked overnight. Jake saw me smiling at my phone. That a revenge grin or a business grin? Both, I said. They built me a free marketing campaign. He laughed. You're dangerous. No, I corrected softly. I'm finally me. 2 days later, Dad called. I let it ring twice before answering. Lynn, he began, hesitant. I just wanted to say I was wrong. I waited. He exhaled. Your mother and I, we didn't realize how much you've accomplished. The house, the business, it's incredible. We're proud of you. Proud. The word landed heavy and late. Thanks, I said. Payment cleared this morning. Appreciate your promptness. He paused. That's not what I meant. I know, I said gently, but it's a start. That night, I received an unexpected email from Marcus. Subject, photo delivery, staff album. Inside was a folder of candid shots from cleanup. Most were practical. Cables, lighting, inventory. But one photo stopped me cold. It was me, standing at the front door as the last guest left, laughing with my team. Sunlight slanted behind us, painting everything in soft gold. I looked at peace, not triumphant, not bitter, just steady. I printed it, framed it in black metal, and hung it right beside the entryway light switch, the first thing anyone would see upon walking in. The next evening, the doorbell rang. Through the glass, I saw Mom standing there, alone. No flowers, no smile, just tired eyes. She lifted a hand to knock again, but froze when she noticed the framed photo beside her reflection. I watched from the hallway camera feed, her hand dropping slowly, her gaze softening. She mouthed something I couldn't hear, maybe sorry, maybe wow. Then she turned and left. Later, Jake arrived with takeout and 2 spoons for dessert. Your mom came by, he said quietly. I know, I replied. I saw her on the feed. Are you going to call her? Not yet, maybe not at all. He nodded. Boundaries first. Exactly. We ate in comfortable silence, music low in the background. Not to fill the quiet, but to decorate it. Before bed, I walked through my house, my space, my peace, checking locks and lights. The air felt different now, lighter, settled. I paused at the front door, eyes resting on the framed photo. It wasn't about revenge, not anymore. It was proof. Proof that I didn't have to shout or beg or prove my worth to people determined not to see it. Sometimes healing doesn't look like reconciliation. Sometimes it looks like an invoice paid in full. Sometimes it looks like a locked door that you have every right to keep closed. And sometimes it's as simple as knowing I was never meant to be like my sister. And that's the best thing that ever happened to me.